Hey there, welcome back. Today we're talking about something that has a lot of people talking. The Social Security Fairness Act just passed in the House of Representatives, and it could mean some real changes for certain retirees. This isn't just another policy update, this is potentially life-changing news for public servants like teachers, police officers, firefighters, and their spouses who've been impacted by Social Security penalties for decades. This bill aims to repeal those penalties and finally allow these workers to access the full benefits they've earned. So, what's really going on with this bill, who it affects, and how could it change things for the better? Stick around, because we're about to break it all down in a way that's easy to understand and packed with useful information. So first, a little background. If you've worked in a public sector job, we're talking teachers, firefighters, police, and other public servants, you might already be familiar with what's known as the Windfall Elimination Provision or WEP and the Government Pension Offset or GPO. Now, these rules have been around since the 1980s, and they've basically reduced Social Security benefits for folks who receive certain public pensions. To put it simply, if you worked in a job where Social Security taxes weren't withheld, like a state or local government position, these rules can cut down your Social Security benefits, sometimes significantly. You may be wondering, why do these rules even exist? Well, the original goal was to prevent what policymakers back then saw as double dipping. They wanted to make sure that individuals who hadn't paid into Social Security over their careers weren't receiving what they considered extra benefits on top of their pensions. But over time, this policy has really hurt retirees who've spent years serving their communities, often on modest salaries, and it's left many feeling like they're being unfairly penalized for dedicating their careers to public service. Now, let's get to the good part. The new bill, called the Social Security Fairness Act, just passed in the House with strong bipartisan support. And what's remarkable is how many lawmakers came together on this issue. The vote was 327 to 75, which shows there's a lot of agreement on this. The bill would completely repeal both the WEP and the GPO, essentially removing these penalties and allowing public sector retirees to receive their full Social Security benefits. For a lot of people, this change could mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars more per month. This isn't just a small tweak to the system. If this bill becomes law, about 2.8 million people across the country stand to benefit. For retirees who've already paid their dues and are living on fixed incomes, that additional income could make a huge difference. Think about it, that could help cover medical bills, pay for daily necessities, or simply give some peace of mind. Many retirees who've been impacted by these penalties have been calling for this change for years, and it's finally made it further than ever before in Congress. But of course, there's a flip side to consider too. Some critics argue that removing the WEP and GPO could add strain to Social Security's finances. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that repealing these rules could add about $196 billion to deficits over the next decade. And with Social Security already projected to face financial challenges in the coming years, with the trust fund potentially being depleted by 2035, there's concern about how this will impact the long-term sustainability of the program. It's a valid concern, and it's something lawmakers are debating even as this bill moves forward. On top of that, some policymakers and advocacy groups believe that while this bill is a step in the right direction, it doesn't go far enough. They're calling for broader Social Security reforms that would not only eliminate these penalties but also address other issues with benefit calculations and funding. One alternative bill, for example, proposes a new formula to calculate benefits for pensioners rather than completely eliminating WEP and GPO. Supporters of this alternative argue that it could help balance fairness for public and private sector workers while keeping Social Security's finances in check. So, what happens next? Now that the bill has passed in the House, it's headed to the Senate. And here's where things get a bit tricky. The Senate doesn't have the same discharge petition process that the House used to push this bill to a vote, which means it could take a little longer to get it on the floor. However, there is already strong support, with 62 senators co-sponsoring the bill, which is more than enough to overcome a filibuster. The real challenge will be getting Senate leadership to make it a priority amid other pressing issues like budget approvals and defense funding. Let's say the Senate passes the bill, what then? Well, if all goes smoothly, the bill would head to the president's desk for a signature, officially making it law. But even then, it might take some time for Social Security to implement the changes. We're talking about a massive adjustment to the system, and there could be delays as they work through the operational details. Still, just getting this far is a huge win for advocates who've been pushing for these changes for decades. Now, you might be wondering, how can you find out if you'd be affected by this change? If you've worked in a public sector job and receive or will receive a pension, there's a good chance this could impact you. The best place to start is by looking at your Social Security statements and speaking with your pension administrator. They can give you a clearer picture of what your benefits look like now and how they could change if this bill becomes law. So, this bill is about fairness for public servants who've put in years of hard work and deserve the retirement benefits they've earned. It's a reminder that even policies with good intentions can have unintended consequences and that there's always room to revisit and improve systems to make them work better for everyone. Whether or not you're directly impacted, this is an important moment in the ongoing conversation about Social Security and the financial security of retirees in our country. Alright, that's it for today's update. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more content like this. We're all about making financial topics simple and straightforward for you. And let me know in the comments, what would it mean for you or someone you know? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.